Hey buddy, so basically in today's GFG POTD we have a problem rooftop. So basically this is an easy level of problem, and as the problem given here, you are given the height of consecutive buildings. You can move from the roof of the building to the roof of the next adjacent building. You need to find the maximum number of consecutive steps you can put forward such that you gain an increase in altitude with each step. So basically this problem says that we have a consecutive buildings, and we need to find the maximum height of altitude. Okay, so like for example here, the first example is given here. This is basically an array, and like 1 2 2 1 2 2 3 2. So basically in this problem, we have to move consecutively. So we have to count on the consecutive number of steps. Like once we like moving from 1 to 2, we actually consecutively move by 1. But like once we reach at 2 position, and again we are moving to the same level of buildings, then we actually not moving consecutively. So once we reached here, now again once we reached like 2 to 3, then there also we actually moving by 1 step by consecutively. So and here at the last, once we move from 3 to 2, we actually like moving from consecutively 1. So here our output is like 1. Okay, so as the expression is also given here, 1 to 2 1 2 or 2 3 are the only consecutive buildings with increasing heights, thus maximum number of consecutive step with an increase in gaining at altitude would be 1 in both cases. And as the second example is given here, like these are the buildings which are consecutively increasing. So here from 1 to 2 we actually consecutive moving by 1 step, and from 2 to 3 we actually moving consecutive step by 1 step, so it will be 2. Again once we moving from 3 to 4, so here we our output is like 3. Okay, so basically here we are actually moving, here actually jumping on the building by the length of 3, which is our maximum number of buildings with increased height. Okay, so we need to solve this problem with an expected time complexity of order of n and expected auxiliary space of order of 1. So basically this problem is basically depends on arrays, searchings, and data structures and algorithms. So for solving this problem, let's try to understand this problem on a whiteboard. So basically this is the example here. So first of all, we are actually taking the example of first example 1 2 2 3 2. So this is our example 1 2 2 3 and 2. So let's see, these are the heights of the building, and here are the building, let's say, and this is the second building of the same height, 1 2 2 3, and this is again 2. So for solving this problem, we have an approach. We actually standing here on this building, that means on one first building, and we need to move. Okay, so while moving, we actually, once we move from 1 to 2, here we have to make a count variable, consecutive count. So consecutive count, so here we with consecutive count by 1, and we need to also store, initially it was like 0, and here we have to also make a ans variable, which we have to store the maximum value of the consecutive count. So like while moving from first to second, we have to increment our consecutive count, so it will become like 1, and once it will be like reaching from uh, 2 to again 2, then it is not actually moving consecutively. So here we have to store this consecutive count variable value as 1 in answer variable, and we have to make it 0, this consecutive count. Again once we like reached here, we have to move on the fourth building, which is 3. While moving on this 3, we have to make consecutive count as 1. Again we have to make this 1, and we need to store it and once we like taking the maximum value of like answer and consecutive count, then it will both actually same. So here answer is storing the value as 1, and again once we like 3 it's reaching to 2, maximum consecutive count is like 1. So here our output is 1. Now talking about the second example here, so it will be like 1 2 3 4. Okay, so let's say this is my array 1 2 3 and 4. So these are basically buildings, like this is 1 and this is 2, this is like 3, we can say that 3, and this is 4. Let's say these are the buildings, and basically I'm standing here on the first building. This is 1 2 3 and 4. So while standing here and while moving from first building to second building, here I am moving by consecutively by 1 position. So here consecutive count will be like 1, we can say that. Okay, so here consecutive count will be, initially it was like 0 and the answer is also declared as 0. So while moving from first building to second building consecutively, we have to increment consecutively count by 1, so it will become like 1. Like again it will be moving by and we have to also store it inside the answers also. So here we have to store in answer first, and then after that once we like moving from first to second consecutively, again it will like become 2, and we need to store the maximum value as and we need to store it inside the answer, so it will like also answer 2. And similarly once we like reaching at last building, our consecutively count will become like 3 and we need to store it inside the answer variable, so it will like 3. So these are the basically output for this second example. Let's try to code it. So first of all we have to make a 2 variable. First say we can say that consecutive count, const count, which I have to declare it by 0 initially, and I have to also making a count answer variable, which are basically used to store the maximum number of count. Okay, so here answer 0 and we need to traverse it first. So for here we have to start with from the second index. That means here we have to start from this. Let's say I'm standing here and I need to compare it with the previous building, that whether it is like greater than its previous building or not. So here like for int I is equal to 1, I is less than arrays length, and then I plus plus. After that we need to check it. So for that I can say that if arrays of I is greater than array of I minus 1, then we have to make consecutively count, we have to increment consecutively count. So const count plus plus, and then after that in the else part we need to store the maximum count consecutive count variable inside the answer. So answer is equal to, here we have to take the maximum value as answer and const count. Once we're taking the maximum value of between the answer and const count, and which then we have to store it inside the answer variable, and we have to make const count as 0. Okay, now once this loop will be over, we have to again store the answer variable, which basically stores the maximum value between the answers and the const count, and then after that we need to simply return our answer. Let's try to compile and run. So const count, okay, here const counts. Let's try to compile and run. For int delta is equal to 1, I is less than array's length. Okay, so here we have to make array size. So its compilation is completed. Let's try to submit it. So it's submitted. So that's all for the today. Thanks for watching.